Hello, hello. I have a very important announcement to make. I'm bald. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, I went bald again. I got tired of having hair. Plus, it was so hot. Like, it was hot for like 5 days straight. And I'm like, dang, this is crazy. I'm gonna go bald and cool off. But now it's gonna get cold again, so back to my fuzzy hat, I guess. Anyway, I have another news announcement. I got my job back. Yay! Now, some of you are thinking, was I ever fired or laid off? No, I was not, but it's complicated. I work in a factory that makes shirts, and the work is a seasonal. However, instead of laying me off, they put me on a call, and to be on call means that they will call you in whenever there is work. So you can't really go out and get another job because again you're on call. So technically you have a job. It's just there's no work there. So yeah, like it's a very uncertain pre precarious position, and I would much preferred if they just laid me off because then I could go somewhere else and be like, hey, I'm laid off. They aren't calling me back at random, so I can have another real actual job. Anyway, there's work now at the factory, so I'm going back to work full time. Yeah. Uh, from September to like November, I was doing partial days. Like like officially I'm supposed to work 10 hours, but because work was so scarce, I was only working 8 hours. But since there is more work coming in, the 8 hour work day is going back to its a full time 10-hour work day, which is great because I barely have $200 on my account. Yeah, and I have a car note coming up and the car insurance, and then I have to pay my taxes. And then there's my car assessment for next year, and I can't get my car tags until it's been assessed. And then there's property tax, and because I live in Arkansas, the property tax is like very expensive because the other forms of taxes are so low, which sucks so much. So yeah, because I'm poor and have a car, I have to pay a lot more in my taxes. Cause I don't know, I don't know if I told you guys this, but last year I bought a brand new car, and the sales tax on that car was like $1,700. Like it completely cleared out both of my savings and a checking account. It was terrible. And so when I was put on call, I barely had any money to live off of. Like it wasn't a noodle cups every day, but it was a frozen burritos and those store bought wonton thingies like every day. Like I was eating 2 meals a day. I was skipping breakfast. I'm pretty sure I was slowly starving because instead of having 2,000 calories a day, I was just having a 7 or 900, which is livable but not healthy. So anyway, because I'm going back to work, I plan on eating a 3 meals now. So I will be healthier. I won't get as much sleep, but I was sleeping in a lot anyway because I was kind of depressed. Like like when you're financially insecure, like it messes with your mental health a lot. Like even when you're not thinking about money, like on a subconscious level, you are thinking about money because without money, you can't eat, you can't drive, you can't have medicine, you can't do anything without money. And the fact that everything you need to live costs money, it presses on you, like not hard, but like one of those a wine cheese presser things, like you twist it and it presses slowly more and more and more. Anyway, that's how it is to be financially unstable. It's not a quick hard pressure. It's a slow sinking pressure, and eventually it flat out kills you. Like, like man, it sucks. But now my job's back, and I feel so much lighter, so much lighter. And I still live with my mom now. If I didn't live with my mom, I would probably be living in my car because when I was on call, no money was coming in. So if I had to pay rent, I just couldn't pay rent. I would just be homeless in my car. And because I don't have a home, I wouldn't have a fridge to store the food I bought. So I would probably be eating fast food every day to live, which is so you see how bad it is to be homeless. But fortunately, I'm not. Yay! That was a bit of a tangent. So yeah, that's what's going on with me. I'm pretty happy about that. Now, some of you are thinking, wait a minute, if you don't have any money, then where did you get the money for a haircut? Plasma. Yeah, I never stopped selling plasma, and that keeps me kind of afloat. It's not very well. It's not a lot of money, but it's enough. It's like it's a, it's enough. Anyway, yeah, that's basically all I wanted to talk about, and I'm currently not writing anything. Like the last big thing I wrote was, I guess it's a horror story. I don't know. Uh, I told you about it in my previous video. A best friend gets killed, so she brings him to life with like science, and he's like a Frankenstein, but not really. It's a bit like that, but with a twist. You know, like like, like whenever you're selling a product, like back in college, I was taught that if you're pitching a movie or a story idea, you always you always try to compare it to something the audience is familiar with, because while people say they want new exciting stories, that's a lie. Most folks don't want new exciting stories. They want stuff that feels familiar to them, which is why reboots and remakes and sequels have taken over the box office for the past 8 years. You know, so yeah. Uh, I called this story a Frankenstein with a twist when it's not really that. It's a lot more than that. Like the main character is a lab technician, and she feels her job is very boring and unfulfilling. So in her spare time, she creates this chemical that can reanimate dead a tissue, kind of like Reanimator, but not quite. There's a bit of a twist with that. And for those of you who don't know what a Reanimator is, I encourage you to read the H.P. Lovecraft story, or just watch the movie with Jeffrey Combs. I had that in mind, but I also had Frankenstein in mind. But I also had this idea of identity and self full fulfillment. Like in our modern day, what does being self fulfilled look like? You know, because like her best friend is a homeless man, and he gets killed by a police officer, and she wants to bring him back to life, but at the same time, she spends like several paragraphs arguing about the ethics of that. You know, like my friend's dead, so he can't consent to being brought back to life. But at the same time, he was homeless, and he told me once that if he could do life over again, he would change so much. So should I give him that opportunity, or should I just leave him to rest in peace? You know, that's the question she has to ask herself. But yeah, it's a short story, so I can't really like. I don't spend pages and chapters just having the character do an inner a monologue, but the monologue is there. It's more action oriented than it is a philosophically oriented. But yeah, it's more action than a, a think piece. Yeah. God, I hate talking, which is why I prefer writing. I write much more fluidly than I speak. So if you stay for for this long, please check the books I wrote and self published on Amazon and Kindle in my description box, please. Like I said, I'm poor and I live with my mom, so it would really help a struggling, starving artist if you would at least look and leave a 5-star review. Like you ain't even gotta read it, okay? Just leave me a 5-star review and say you loved it. I mean, that's what the big time writers do anyway. You know, you know.